On ABC Local Radio Queensland. One of the biggest Australian sporting events of its kind is about to be held in this state. Teams from around the nation are heading to the Sunshine Coast to dunk, dribble and roll. The Suncoast Spinners are hosting their wheelchair basketball tournament from tomorrow. Sharon Fullwood is the tournament director and her son Jake Fullwood is a competitor with the Green Men's Development Team. He's also a Suncoast Spinner and they're both joining us this morning. Good morning, Sharon and Jake.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sharon, firstly to you, how did you and your son find wheelchair basketball?
Well, it wasn't easy. When we joined the group, it was a very small group of friends that played regularly on the Sunshine Coast, and I saw how much it increased Jake's mental health, development, wheelchair skills, and thought, yes, this is what we need to do. So I helped make it a formalised club just over 10 years ago.
So you took the reins.
Yeah, it needed some direction.
Yeah, well, you've taken it in the right direction now that there's a big tournament tomorrow. You've got getting players from all around the country to attend. Jake, tell us a bit about yourself.
The development team I'm on is the Australian development team, and we're looking to build up our team to head to Toronto next year for the the World Junior Championship. So we're a big, strong team looking to show ourselves up in this tournament.
That's exciting, isn't it? So how many years have you been playing wheelchair basketball?
At December last year was my 10th year playing.
Right.
I've been playing for half my life now.
Wow. What was it like the first time? You know, I can imagine the nightmare of coordination. I mean, and obviously you've got the wheelchair down pat, but being able to chase after a ball that can be thrown anywhere, including at your head, how does that work?
You get used to it. I've caught a ball to the face a few times. I've bent my glasses back a few times. You just get used to it.
I like how you say you caught a ball as if you actually meant to catch it with your face.
I caught the ball afterwards. It was just that the face stopped the ball, so it's easy to catch.
Tell us how hard and physical it is on your body when you've got a ball flying at you and you really can't get out of its way that quickly.
You toughen up quickly.
Yeah? What's your worst injury you've had?
Me, I've actually got it fairly easily. I've just got off with a few sprained different muscles. Honestly, quite easily.
Okay.
Unlike quite a few people. I know quite a few. Should ask some of the Rocky boys. They're a bit wild.
Are they? Are they really? Reputation for wild ones from Rocky.
Indeed.
They take it seriously.
Stop the ball from going out. It's not unusual for one to throw themselves out of the chair, do a cartwheel and break their shoulder on the way down.
Now that's commitment, isn't it? Or craziness, I don't know what.
It's a bit of both.
Because you often do see that, you see images of not only putting the wheelchair on the line, but people putting their bodies on the line. How often in an average match does someone pitch themselves out of their chair because they are reaching that far to get to the ball?
For a high point player such as myself, at least 2 a game.
Yeah?
For lower point players, maybe once every 2 games.
And do you have to get yourself back in the chair? It's like, tough.
If you want to go to that next level, you need to be able to get yourself up. You need to be able to do it quick because you've got to keep moving.
Yeah, and not get run over in the meantime.
Nah, it's a minor issue.
So your whole focus, I guess, is not about your chair. It's not about your body. It's like in any sport that has a ball. It's just all about hunting down that round thing.
Yep, getting that ball through the hoop. But also it's a team sport, so you got to do it together. Help your teammates do it too.
Yeah, you got to do a lot of talking, haven't you?
I've not more than once I've run out of voice halfway through a game.
Now you're not going to tell me there's any sledging that goes on in these tournaments.
No, of course not.
No, I can tell. Okay, I don't even want to hear your worst sledge because it's probably not fit for a radio audience. What position do you play?
I'm a high point player, so my goal is to get to position A under the bucket and put the ball in the hoop.
Okay, and what's your highest scoring game that you've been able to notch up in 10 years of playing?
I'd say mine was, I think it was 32 in one of the National League games last year.
That's pretty impressive.
It's above average. I'm quite happy with it.
Who's your biggest threat in the tournament?
Probably Feed the Heat this year. That's one of the Brisbane teams.
And what makes them, so, I guess, much of a threat to you?
well, apart from having two of the Australian players on their team, they're quite an experienced team, and they know how to exploit us, or how to trick all us young boys into doing the wrong things.
Ah, right. So it's a lot of fakery, is it?
Yeah.
They fake to the left, and then they fake to the left, and you go right, and then it all falls apart.
That's the plan.
Okay. Well, it sounds like they're going to be a bit of a challenge for you, but I'm sure you're up for it. Sharon, tell us about how the tournament is being run. How many teams are in it, and how far are people coming to this tournament?
Okay, so we have 19 teams this year across 3 grades. We have people from WA, including referees, coming over. And we also have a team from Canterbury in New Zealand. So all over Queensland, Victoria, New South Wales. Our NT player wasn't allowed to play this year because he's going to the Paralympics.
Right. Oh, you've got to save him for the
Got to
big
save
one.
him up for
Fair enough.
But we do have a couple of WA players as well.
And where do all these people stay when they're on the Sunshine Coast? Logistically, that must be a bit of a headache to organise.
Look, we are super lucky in that there's some fantastic facilities just down the road from the North Street Stadium.
Okay.
And otherwise, it can be a nightmare finding wheelchair accessible rooms or bathrooms in the rooms. But after 10 years, we've sort of got it down pat.
Yeah, you know exactly what's happening.
Exactly.
Now, you are the tournament director. You've got to be fairly, down the line. But what's it like for you when Jake and his mates take the court?
Oh, it's awesome.
Do you lose all dignity and start screaming along with the rest of the fans?
Oh, yeah. Get into trouble all the time.
Do you?
Yes.
Jake, is she embarrassing?
Let's not talk about how embarrassing my mother is.
Well, see, that's all just goes with the territory, I'm afraid. That's what they're there for.
Yeah, I've come to that conclusion.
So for you, after this tournament is over, Jake, you mentioned about the development team you're in. Where do you go to after this?
After this tournament, we'll go back and just train for ourselves for a few weeks, and then in a couple of months, we'll probably heading over to Dubai and get some more practice over there, playing against some of the Middle Eastern teams. And then we'll just keep doing mini Australian development camps, building up that team as we go along, heading towards Toronto next year.
Toronto, that's where it all happens. And Sharon, will you be going to Toronto with Jake as well if it all happens?
Oh, I couldn't dream. I'd like to, but we'll just have to see.
Yeah, you have to get onto the fundraising if that happens.
That's exactly right.
And what about the Paralympics, Jake? Do you hold dreams of those as well?
Tokyo in 2020, that's where I'm heading.
Excellent. So Toronto, what are we saying? Toronto next year and then Tokyo 2020.
Yep.
Yeah, you'll do it.
Sounds good.
Yep, you've got the right attitude, that's for sure. It's been lovely to catch up with you both. Good luck with the tournament, Sharon, and good luck on the court, Jake.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much for having us.
Really lovely couple, a family there, very heavily involved in wheelchair basketball. So heavily involved that Mum Sharon Fullwood has pulled together the wheelchair basketball tournament that kicks off tomorrow on the Sunshine Coast, and her son Jake Fullwood there is an integral part of the Sun Coast Spinners. He's off to go and practice his sledging now. It's 10:30, ABC Local Radio Queensland with the news headlines once again.